Hey everybody, welcome back. This is our second video. Today we're going to cover loops and MIDI. Let's go ahead and get right into it. Those of you entirely new to working in a DAW, a loop is quite literally just a piece of sound or MIDI that is just repeated over and over. You can repeat as much as you want. It'll play all the way from start to finish and repeat back into the start perfectly. So now let's go ahead and go more in depth into how loops work in Soundtrap. All right, so right away we've got two ways we can get to our loops. First one is it's right there in front of us, browse loops. We can also go up to this little purple, dark mode, it's purple, this musical note icon. I'll open up our loop library. We've got a couple ways we can look for our loops. We can search by a sound type, an artist we like, a song, way more. We can even choose some of these filter words we've got right underneath the search bar. So I thought it'd be fun to make a house song. I'm gonna go ahead and search for some house chords. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna type in one of my favorite artists, K.Fox. Look at that, it already pops up with a few of these. So perfect. I can go ahead and check out what we might have here.
Moments later.
So perfect there. We found a nice little chord loop there. Very cool. Like I said at the beginning of this video, there's two types of loops we can have. We can have a sound loop. We can also have a MIDI loop. Now, Soundtrap has two ways of differentiating this stuff. So right here, next to this playback button we can use to preview, we've also got this little waveform. See, when we dragged it in here, it has the same kind of shape to it. Let's just go ahead and type in MIDI. MIDI gives us this note icon, these eighth note icons. That tells us it's a MIDI loop. Now, the difference between a waveform and MIDI is that, like I said, waveform is recorded sound. It is information that's already been recorded to a file. MIDI, however, is not sound. It is just numbers. But for now, just know that MIDI is not recorded sound. It is just information that the computer can use to play sound back to us. And when we do drag things into our arrangement here, they're in these nice little rectangles, right? These are called regions. And we can repeat regions with waveforms as much as we want. We just take this little loop here, this little loop arrow, top right of the region, and just start dragging. And you can tell where it starts to repeat, where it loops back to the start of the sound. Right here, these little indentations, a rectangle. So for me, I'm just going to repeat this out, I think 4 times, just to get us started. That takes us to 17 measures, 17 bars of sound. Now 16, basically 4 repetitions of the loop is just enough to get us started, help get ideas out, kind of get the creative work going here. Right, you're not going to have a full fleshed out 3-minute song right from the get-go. It's going to take time, and you don't want to just repeat the same thing over and over, at least for this song. All right, we want some variation to what we're going to do. Let's talk about MIDI.
More moments later.
Now, let's talk about the difference with how we can manipulate MIDI. So as you can see, MIDI also gets pulled into the arrangement in a region. This region is a bit longer. This loop's a bit longer than our waveform. But we can still repeat it, right? I probably won't keep this in here, but for demonstration purposes. So, like I said, MIDI is just information that the DAW uses to play sound back to us. Like I said, MIDI is just information that the DAW can use to play sound back to us, right? So it gives us note values, pitch values rather, and also tell us how soft or loud the note's going to get played. You can see that here, velocity is at 61. It also tells us how long a note should be played, right? We have these different lengths, and it'll determine how each sound gets played. So let's hear the difference, right? And of course, because this is not recorded information, that means we can change it and move it however we like. I won't do that today because I want to keep this video going. Just know that you can do that. I'm going to go ahead and delete this track. Just shift backspace as your shortcut. So we've got our loop and it's lengthened out. Means we can kind of go at this any way we'd like to. I could maybe add another bass line, maybe a little melody and arpeggio, and this is all stuff I can explain to you guys in following videos. I think personally, next video, I would like to show you how I can add a beat to this using patterns, beat maker. Now, of course, before we're done for the day, we need to name our song. We don't just want to leave it untitled. I'm going to show that. Title this Soundtrap 101 Funky House Song, or just Funky House, right? And of course, hit Save Project. Now, it's important to note that just because I start with the beat doesn't mean that's the only way you can start a song, right? If you have the background or the patience, you can start your song any way you like. You could do it with a drum beat, you could do it with chords, with a melody, something you've written, lyrics, right? Tons of ways to start. There's not just one way to write music. Part of why it's so fun. Personally, I think loops are a great way to help jump starting musical ideas. Now in the next video, we are going to cover how to do drum beats in a bit more detail and how Patterns Beatmaker works, because first look looks just like a bunch of squares, right? But we can do a lot with those. So stay tuned. See you next time.